Welcome to the Paws Effect podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Carra, and I'm here today with Carolyn from KZN Valley Dogs. Welcome, Carolyn.
Thank you very much, Carra.
I'm delighted to have you here as a guest speaker. Thank you so much for joining me.
It's a pleasure.
I've got so many questions for you, so I hope you don't mind. Carolyn, please introduce yourself and tell our audience who you are and who KZN Valley Dogs are.
My name is Carolyn. KZN Valley Dogs is a feeding scheme that goes into the Inanda Valley and the Shongweni Valley and feeds and cares for the disadvantaged dogs and cats and assists the owners in caring for them and educating them on the care of the animals. We started in 2015. We've just had our 8th anniversary.
Wow.
It was started by Anthony, and he sort of, through riding his bike down in the valley, he saw all these starving dogs that used to chase them on their bikes and beg for scraps, and decided that he would take dog food down, and so it went. I joined him about a month after that, and the rest is history.
Wow. So explain, what do you do and how frequently do you do it?
So we go down every Sunday. We go through about 800 kilos of food a week.
800?
Yeah, each route there's 4 routes, 4 different vehicles, and each one uses about 200 kilos of food. We feed about 120 odd on site, and we also leave food with the more disadvantaged homes. So it varies, but it's between 600 and 800 a week.
Wow.
That's dog and cat. We also cook bone meal in these giant biryani pots, and we feed the dogs on site, dished up pellets as well as the bone meal, which we mix with rice to stretch it, and gravy and water, anything to sort of make it go a bit further. We feed approximately 1,200 dogs every Sunday and about 200 cats.
And tell me what else, because I've seen the chickens.
And chickens and goats.
And goats.
Yes.
Wonderful.
So the chickens came about because they used to come and try and eat the dog food.
Okay.
And the dogs would snap at them. So we started feeding them so they wouldn't do that. But then they became an entity on their own, and they now chase the cars, the same as the dogs. So it's quite hysterical. And then the goats became a part of the chicken, and yeah.
I would encourage anyone to have a look at your Facebook page and have a look at some of the images and the video clips of the dogs that come running and the chickens that come running. It is a sight.
We even have a young boy who's got a pet chicken. He doesn't have a dog, he has a chicken, and it's called Chicolita. So if you watch Paw Patrol, you'll know where Chicolita comes from, and he brings Chicolita every week.
It's incredible.
If she doesn't want to come, then she doesn't come. So when they're getting ready to come, she'll come along, and he'll pick her up, and he walks about 5Ks with his chicken. And we give him chicken food, and then off they go back home again.
And what does his chicken mean
And
to
she
him?
just sits with the dogs.
Is it a pet?
Proper, yes. And we were like a bit concerned as to whether we were fattening her up for dinner. But no, she's his pet.
He's very fond of her. And how old is she now?
She must be about a year. I don't know how long they live.
Oh.
I know.
So other than feeding, from my understanding, and explain a little bit more if I'm not understanding it correctly, a lot of what you do is also education.
Yes. We deal a lot with children. A lot of the community is made up of elderly and children. So we take the children with us. A lot of them jump in the vans and they travel with us. And some of them were little toddlers when we started. They're now almost finished primary school. I mean, some of them have finished school. So we've worked hard with them, because I think when you have a child go home and tell their parents, we shouldn't be doing this, we should be doing that with their animals, it's the right place to start.
Absolutely.
And we've educated them on how to treat them, how to hold the puppies, not to chain them up, not to have chains around their necks, the danger of ticks, and worms and all of this type of thing, and notifying us if the animal is not well, not telling us on a Sunday that it's been sick for 5 days, and that type of thing. And we now get phone calls all day and all night from people but we've told them to call us if they need help, so they do. And then obviously as a spin-off of that came the medical side of things, where we then started coming across sick animals and injured animals.
And are these stray or are they
No,
owned?
most of them are owned. Most of the dogs in the valley are owned. There are a few strays, but they actually, most of them have owners.
Okay.
But because the yards aren't fenced, so the dogs are free roaming. So when you go down there, it looks like there's just dogs everywhere and they don't belong to anybody. But it's actually amazing when we go and feed on a Sunday, how a guy will whistle and 10 dogs will just follow him.
Wow.
Those are his dogs, and they know that they're his dogs. So most of them are owned, yes.
Okay. And in terms of education, is from, you say, handling, is it about nutrition and healthcare and avoiding issues like being hit by a car? And I mean, I take it there's extensive information provided. Who provides that information?
Well, we do. Most of it's through showing them, and I think when we first started, there was almost like the way maybe your son is being brought up to cuddle his dogs and love his dogs. Some of them are not down there. So we've taught them that, the more attention you give to your dogs, the more you're going to get out of your dog. And the bond that some of these kids have with their animals is incredible.
Wow.
And for a lot of the elderly, that's their only companion. They live on their own with their dog or their cat. So for them to lose that animal is very traumatic. So we try our hardest with vaccinations, but obviously we fight the battle of all sorts of illnesses and diseases and injuries. And thanks to Hillcrest Vets, we're able to deal with most of those. But it is, it's all about educating them that if your dog is not eating, and it's now day 2, you need to tell us. And if your dog gets hit by a car, you can't wait till Sunday when we're down there to say, oh, by the way, this dog's been hurt. So it's come a long way from when we started to now. Just the condition of the animals.
So you've seen a noticeable difference.
It's amazing. I mean, when I look back at some old memories, I can't believe how skinny they were and how,
mangy and the skin condition.
Because that's what got to Ant when he was riding down there, is these mangy, skinny, terrified animals. And now they couldn't even be bothered to chase the riders anymore. It's like
then they know to wait for the van on a Sunday,
and they do.
Yeah.
They're so clever.
They can hear you.
Yes, they know which van belongs to them because we go along the same road and then we sort of branch off. And dogs that I feed won't chase the colt, but they get very confused if we come in a different vehicle. Then they're like, what's going on? But they're super clever.
And in terms of volunteers, do you have people who
We have
help you?
our key group.
Are they from the community or are they?
We have some volunteers from the community, but with regards to the 4 vehicles, it's Ant, and he's got a team that now does Shongweni. And then in Inanda, it's myself and Chanel, Teresa, and she has a couple of different people that come with her, and then Mark and Salome. And those are our key members. And then we have Brendan, who actually comes from Mulweni, but he comes with us every Sunday. And then we pick up kids along the way. We have our regular, we call them the Bucky kids. They jump in and, we couldn't do it without them.
No, I'm sure.
We're fortunate that Ant is fluent in Zulu and so is Mark.
Okay.
But it also really does help to have those kids with us because they can interpret.
And they translate a lot of the information.
Yeah.
Oh, that's wonderful. So, and of course, they've obviously become very fond of you and you of them.
Yes. Well, I mean, in the beginning, it was really all about the dogs and the cats. But you can't deal with animals and not have the human element come into it. So we've actually made some really good friends down there and become very involved. We've been invited to weddings, we've attended funerals, taken gifts down for newborn babies. So it's become quite a a lot more than just the animals.
Yeah. So, I mean, in terms of when you started out, you say obviously so much has changed. How were you perceived? How were you received by the community?
In the beginning, they were a little bit like suspicious, like, who are these people? And obviously, you've got to be very respectful of the fact that you can't just, I mean, imagine somebody just coming to your house and saying, I've come to feed your dogs. You'd be like, sorry, what? So Ant had to go and chat to the chiefs and chat to, he knew the drill because of getting permission to ride down there. You're riding through people's properties. Just because there's no fences doesn't mean it's free range. So he chatted to the chiefs, chatted to the elders. We've got some really great guys that are on our side. If we had any issues, we chat to them, and they sort it out for us.
And what kind of issues have you come across?
We had a little bit of issues where kids were coming and asking for dog food and then selling it.
Okay.
So then the chief down there, who's a Nkosi Bengu, said, what you need to do is you cannot give them anything for free. They must give you 50 cents or 2 rand or whatever, because then they're more likely to not sell it. They're going to come because they need it. So once we don't do that with everyone, because some of the families there are extremely poor. And the bowls of food that we feed them, those, we don't charge anything. Yeah. But if they want to come and take a little pre-pack, they bring us 50 cents or they bring us, and then that money goes back into them, the sweets and the stuff that we take down on a Sunday. It's just to teach them a bit of responsibility. And I actually thought it was quite a sensible. He said he doesn't want the kids just thinking they can get, So that's worked out quite well. We haven't ever felt unsafe down there. I haven't. So I think it's mainly just that the people know why we're there, and we're not just rocking up at someone's house and it's like, they must agree that we can help them with their dogs. And that's sort of how word of mouth spread, and that's how we went from feeding 50 dogs in the beginning to feeding over 1,000 now.
It's quite a responsibility.
Yeah, and it's quite sad because we get stopped by people from other communities like Mulweni, and asking us why we don't come to them, but we just can't. We are stretched to the absolute. I mean, taking on Shongweni was something what Ant wanted to do for years now, and we were all dead against it because of the resources. But he was like, no, I have to help those dogs as well. So we've got that route on now. So that's we're at
absolute capacity in terms of resources.
Yeah, I mean, we're very lucky because we get lent a vehicle to do the one route by Don's Deliveries.
Okay.
And I mean, they don't charge us for that. It comes with fuel. I mean, they know we're driving it down in the.
That is so generous.
Yeah, so that's like an amazing. And then we've had to buy 2 vehicles as we could afford it. But we can't take on
anymore. And let's talk about generally funding. So how do you fund this? I mean, obviously there are certain people who are credible in terms of donation, but how do you fund this?
Before COVID, we used to do 2 fundraisers a year, but when COVID hit, that sort of put a spanner in the works for everybody because you couldn't. We did one earlier this year. Danielle, who's used to be Ant's ex-fiance, she's very involved with the horses. So she did one through the Shongweni Club, and Kay and Lydia from Animal Lodge did there, so we did it in conjunction with them. So we try and do at least one a year, but when everyone works full time, so there's no one that can just be dedicated to fundraising or social media. It's difficult. It really is. We have a few regular donors who donate to our vet account as well as for food, and then we get from the Do More Foundation. They donate food to us. I'm actually trying to convince them to increase it at the moment, but it's difficult. That's the hardest possible thing, is the funding.
Because it's long term. This is not just a once-off.
No,
this is a commitment that you've made that requires.
So sometimes we have to dig into our own pockets because we can't not go down. We can't not, and there's nothing worse than running out of food. At the end, you get to your route, you've got 2 more stops left and you've hardly got any food left.
And would you say it's an expectation now? I mean,
I think it is. you know. When we had the floods and things like that, we were getting messages, are you still coming? Are you still coming? You know, so it definitely is. I think they would be devastated if we had to say we can't come anymore.
So it's very appreciated.
Yeah, no,
it is.
It is. Yeah. I mean, we go down with big bottles of dip, so the owners dip their dogs while we're feeding, they're dipping, and you know, it's like organized. Well, you've been with us.
Yes,
you came with us.
We did the vaccinations.
Yes.
It was an incredible day.
Yeah,
really eye-opening. I would suggest anybody volunteer and go and spend a day and actually just see what you do, because it's inspiring.
I wish that we could do more in terms of vaccinations and things like that, because that's obviously puts it into a lot of the diseases and that we deal with.
And now, a word from our amazing sponsors who make the Paws Effect podcast possible. To make a promise implies trust. To make a pledge creates expectation. And to make a commitment initiates responsibility. For more than 25 years, we have made it our mission to take the ifs, buts, and maybes out of premium pet food. That's why our experts put the best science behind our food, so your pet's health is put first. That's why, when you seek value, we strive to give you more, like protecting your pets with our free accident benefits. And when you need great tasting food, our fresh meat taste delivers. You see, what sets us apart is not one thing, it's all these things combined. Because we understand that when it comes to your pet's health, you don't want doubt and uncertainty. You want absolutes, the absolute best given your means, like premium veterinary quality food of real value that doesn't cost an arm and a paw. So rest assured that any claim we make, we stand by. It's our commitment to your pets and our promise to you. In fact, we're so confident in what we stand for that we have made the ultimate promise to you. It's called the Ultra Pet Promise. 100% money-back guarantee, a no ifs, no buts, and no maybes kind of promise. We call it our satisfaction guarantee. Welcome back to Just for Pets. You're with Dr. Carra.
Hi, Doc. It's Jackson the Jack Rossi here, and boy am I itchy.
Are you on a hypoallergenic diet?
Hyper what now?
Changing to a special diet will really help. And Just for Pets have a massive range. And flea and tick medication, special shampoo.
Ooh, how quick can you get some?
Order today and we'll deliver pronto.
I feel better already.
Justforpets.co.za. Vet approved, pet adored. Get it all to your door.
Let's get back to our conversation on the Paws Effect podcast. And do you have initiatives where you go and do big rabies drives?
We've got one coming up next Saturday with Cooler Vets,
Great.
Charlotte, and there's one in August in Shongweni, and then another one for us in September. Okay. So we try to, we try and do about 3 or 4 a year, thanks to Megan and Charlotte.
That's great.
With the student vets.
That's great.
It's amazing.
And I think it's good that they also, from a practical perspective, they're able to handle and vaccinate, but also just in terms of an awareness to see what's out there.
Yes, exactly.
And the same in terms of, obviously, rabies is a big issue at the moment, and you're at risk.
Yes.
Are you coming across cases?
We had one in Shongweni about 3 weeks ago that actually came through to Hillcrest, and the owner, when he called to say that his dog was sick, he said, I think it's got rabies.
So they know the signs to look out for?
Yes.
And do you educate them on that?
Yes. They're very scared of rabies. They know that it's a very
fatal
big problem, And they brought them through to the dog through to Hillcrest. It was in fact a greyhound, and Sister Cat, she phoned me and said, I'm pretty sure this dog has got rabies. And we decided to put to sleep, and it did have rabies. The test came back. So that's the only one that we know was a definite case. We tested another one last week, but that came back yesterday as negative. It died overnight at Hillcrest. think it was on Saturday. But yeah, no, we vaccinate plenty because we get vaccinations and we vaccinate for rabies. The guys vaccinate their own dogs. If we can get them the rabies vax, we give it to them. They're fully aware of the danger.
And are you vaccinated?
No.
Oh,
I know.
I would advise that you
I know.
are.
We busy working on that.
Yeah, you really need to. It's such a high risk and so preventable.
Yeah.
And in terms of, obviously, I know that you deal with people who want to breed and hunting dogs. What is firstly?
Hunting dogs is like a bit of a swear
I know,
word.
I know, but let's talk more about it.
You know, when we first went down there, obviously we didn't really know much about hunting dogs. I hadn't even seen a greyhound in real life until I went down there, and now I've got 2 of my own. So it was an eye-opener because we were dealing mainly with the Africanus's and the crossbreeds, but then obviously there are the hunting dogs. And people say, oh, you're feeding them, and we have had some criticism. But how do you go to an area where you're now feeding 100 dogs, 10 of them are greyhounds, and you say, sorry, we can't feed you because you're hunting dogs. We can't do that. So we don't agree with the hunting, but we certainly can't go down there and make
discriminate.
Yes, because then we're in their territory, so we would be causing trouble for ourselves. They know how I feel. The guys know. They know I don't like it.
Yeah.
They know they mustn't come and tell me when they've taken their dogs hunting. But it's a culture that's been going on for hundreds of years. Whether we agree with it or not, we're not going to stop it. It's not, I don't think that the hunting is like it used to be because there's very little wildlife. But they do have competitions and they are very proud of their dogs. And a lot of them are actually the elders. So we have to have good terms, be on good terms with them in order to maintain what we're doing. So, yeah, the hunting dogs.
I suppose there's some benefit in that they're going to want their dogs to be in optimal condition.
Yes.
And they're going to want them to be nutritionally at their peak. So at least they're motivated to...
Yes. And actually they are pretty much... I know that there's a lot of bad publicity on some of the hunting dogs in some of the areas, but where we feed, the hunting dogs are actually in pretty good condition, and they're not abused like with the racing greyhounds and that's it's a different like I always say, they're not Mrs. Jones's pampered pooches but some of them have a better life than Mrs. Jones' pampered pooch because they have, and I'm not talking hunting dogs, I'm talking all of the valley dogs, because they are with the people all the time. The kid goes to the shops, the dogs go with him. He goes to visit his friends, the dogs go with him. They wait for the children when they come home from school. They're not confined in a garden and patted on the head once a day when the person gets home from work, which a lot of urban dogs are. So it's easy for people to point fingers, but actually they could learn a few things.
Happy dogs.
Yeah.
And well socialized.
Yes.
And probably get on better than most of our dogs would with a neighbor.
Imagine if you took your dogs and to where there's 15 other dogs from down there. It would be chaos.
Yeah.
There we feed groups of 100 and something, and we might have an odd snap here or there because of there's food involved, but we very seldom see fights. The dogs are so well behaved and disciplined. The owners just have to whistle and the dogs know what's expected of them.
That's incredible.
If I took mine, it would be chaos.
I'm imagining my dogs.
Your bull terrier.
No, let's not talk about her. She's embarrassing. But and I think it's, that's why I would definitely encourage people to explore more about what you do, because I think there is a lot of misconception around what valley dogs do and why.
Yeah. And I think also people when they look at our photos, they say, oh, there's so many puppies, you need to spay them. But they don't realize it costs a lot of money to spay, and we do try our very hardest. And we do sterilize dogs every month. And one of the criteria we sort of do with getting healthcare for them is that if we take them to the vet, they need to get sterilized. It's not always possible. it's not 100%, but we try and make that is the rule. If we're going to help you with your dog that would have died, we're going to sterilize. We see a lot of TVT cases; those are sterilized without any question. And then we have had a few sterilization drives where we've managed to go down and sterilize 300-400. But it is a problem.
Is it helping the population
It
control?
is, but I think unless you can do that every couple of months, they breed themselves back. It is hard, and then a lot of the puppies don't survive because of parvo and things like that. But it is. We would love to sterilize all the dogs, but people need to
funding and resources.
Yeah, that's the thing.
I think people feel strongly about it rather than criticize or judge. They can contribute.
Well, that's what we say. Please feel free to
sponsor a
dog. Yeah.
And talking funding? How do you put it out there? How do you ask people to help?
Just beg.
Do you?
I try.
You're quite vocal on social media in terms of just.
Yeah. And I think actually getting medical help for the dogs has helped us in that when you put a face to a dog and you give the dog a story and it's family a story, like this is Lyndall's dog and now it got hit by a car, and people are like, oh no, they want to help that dog because now that dog has got a personality.
Real.
Yes. It's not just saying, please give us money so we can feed these dogs or help these dogs, and then on the other hand, we also get people say, oh, you spent all that money on one dog. Yes, but for that one dog, it meant everything. And for that one family, it meant everything. It's like saying, why are you going into these areas where there's starving kids and helping one family when
so many.
Yes. Yeah. For that one family, it means the world.
Absolutely.
And it's
to change
one at a
small
time.
changes. Yeah, absolutely. So other than your social media, your Facebook page, do you approach businesses, companies?
We do.
Government funding?
Oh, no, that's. I don't even think the
lottery funding. Are they?
I know it's so difficult. We send them emails and they're like, we'll put you on the list. We'll get back to you, but it's very difficult. Like even with the like hills and things like that, it's so hard to get. I
suppose there are a lot of requests.
There's so many.
Many rescue organisations.
And they all just as worthy, So it's difficult. I think we've been very lucky, especially with being able to offer medical care. We've got some very generous sponsors on that side. But, we sit with a big bill all the time. As you know.
I know.
As you know. And will say to me, but we got like X amount, because one dog is there for like a period of time. We see some weird and wonderful things.
And despite getting welfare rates, it still costs money.
Definitely, 100%. And
so talking about the food, how do you practically get this food?
So
where do you store it?
So we store it in my mother's garage.
Has it always been like that?
Right from as soon as we started getting the Do More donation, that's where my father nearly has a heart attack every month. The truck's here with the food and I can't get the car. And I'm like, I know, but it's fine. It won't be there very long. We go through it very quickly. Absolutely. And we also stored Ant's workshop. I'm happy when we've got food to store.
Yes.
Because then it means we've got food. And then with regards to the bone meal, we get a donation from Bluff Meats, which covers about 1/3 of our weekly need. Then we buy as well from both Soul Butchery. They give us it at a very, very good rate. And I cook and cooks and one of the other ladies cook. And then...
So the cooking is obviously for the Sunday.
Yes, we cook it on a Saturday. Yeah. And what I do as well is I make up these little yogurt tubs for the puppies.
Okay.
So that the kids can take that, we freeze it and they can at least have something, some protein during the week. And we've seen that's made a big difference.
So explain to me I like I do like the fact that there is some payment involved if they're in a financial position to do it. So you go with bags of food? Do you decant it? So
yes.
Obviously the wet food you feed immediately.
Yes, we dish it up straight up from the pop.
But
we get little bowls that are donated to us by a company called Gap Moldings. So that's been a godsend as well. And then we obviously dishing up from big bags, 20 kilos or 8 kilos or whatever it is we've got. And then we make little packets that is probably enough for a dog for about 3 days.
Okay.
And that's the ones they come with their 50 cents or their £2. So it's actually quite funny because some of the kids hang around the little shebeens and that and pick up the coins that get dropped by the guys when they leave it. Yeah. And they come with like R5 and 20-cent pieces, but we're like, okay, that's fine, thank you. So yeah, that. And then if like with vaccinations, if guys ask us for vaccinations, we will buy the vaccinations and then they pay us exactly. We don't charge them extra, but they must cover the cost.
Okay.
Because otherwise it would just be, we can't afford that.
No.
But we do encourage them to vaccinate, and if they can get the vaccination like we get from you, then it's costing them a lot less than if they were to
Have to go to a vet.
Yeah. So that's and then also with dog food, and sometimes they'll ask us to buy them food, and we will charge them what we pay for it. So if we can get it cheaper at AVR or one of these places or from here, then obviously we don't mark it up. Because we're not trying to make a profit out of it.
No.
You never make a profit out of
profit.
No. So that's.
And do you get a lot of that? Is that on the increase in terms of the contributions? Are they asking for
from the people in the valley? They're actually quite good. I mean, we've got an old man. He doesn't know how old he is because he doesn't have an ID book. We call him Skeletor because he's this like skinny man, and he has his 5 dogs and he brings them every week, and he's about 110 years old, and he comes and he insists on giving us his £2 or his and we say no, and he's like no, like it's his pride thing, we must take it from him. We always give him a bit extra, we always pack a little bag for him, but I think that they try their very best, but the community was knocked hard by COVID. Lots of them lost their jobs. Factories closed and things like that. So it's taken its toll. They were in a far better situation a couple of years back than they are now.
And do you think it's just going to hopefully improve over time, or are you seeing they're still struggling post-COVID?
I don't know. And even getting the grants, they tell us stories about how they'll go to get their grant like 3-4 times and it's not ready, or there's this paperwork that but they're paying taxis to get there.
To go.
So
and waiting all day.
It's not easy.
No.
So we've sort of got to where we know who's might be trying to take advantage and who. So
absolutely. Thank you, Carolyn. We're gonna take a break, and then when we come back, I'd like to dig a little deeper into KZN Valley Dogs.
Perfect.
We have an exciting announcement to make. We are looking for guest speakers who are passionate about the pet industry and sponsors to support future episodes. Are you an expert in pet training, nutrition, or behavior? Maybe you're a veterinarian with insights to share, a pet store owner with unique experiences, or a pet product inventor. We want to hear from you. The Paws Effect podcast is a platform for industry professionals like you to showcase your knowledge, experiences, and stories. As a guest speaker on our podcast, you'll have the opportunity to share valuable information, engage with our audience, and have your voice heard in the pet community. Whether you want to discuss training techniques, emerging pet care trends, or the importance of mental stimulation for pets, we want to feature you and your expertise. So, if you're passionate about pets and have something to say, we invite you to join us on an upcoming episode of the Paws Effect podcast. But wait, that's not all. The Paws Effect podcast is also seeking sponsors to support our mission of educating and entertaining pet lovers worldwide. By becoming a sponsor, you'll gain exposure to our engaged audience and have your brand associated with the love and care that we have for our 4-legged friends. If you own a pet-related business, offer pet products or services, or simply want to align your brand with our pet-loving community, we'd love to partner with you. As a sponsor, your brand will be featured prominently in our episodes and our social media channels. It is a great opportunity to showcase your offerings to a dedicated audience of pet enthusiasts. So whether you're an expert in the pet industry looking to share your knowledge, or a business seeking to reach a pet-loving audience, we want to hear from you. To apply as a guest or to inquire about becoming a sponsor of the Paws Effect podcast, please contact me at Dr. Carra at pawsandeffect.co.za. Get in touch and let's discuss the various opportunities. Thank you for joining us today. We can't wait to welcome our future guest speakers and sponsors to the Paws Effect podcast. Remember, every episode is an opportunity to celebrate our four-legged friends.